Hi, I'm Megan Mulhollan on Jeff Tech News. I'm here with Mr. Kyle Hauptner, who is a former Jeff Tech alumni. He was part of the Computer Network Engineering program, and I'm here with my Computer Network Engineering kid so he can tell us a little bit about what he does over at Ridgway as the Technology Director. Welcome, Kyle. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We have a few questions for you. Could you tell us a little bit about your job description on a day-to-day basis as a Technology Director in Ridgway?
Sure. So basically, as a Technology Director, I'm head of the tech department there, and what we do is provide day-to-day help desk support to the faculty and staff and the students at the district. I plan out a lot of projects, and including network upgrades, computer imaging, all the works. It's tough to think specifically because it's kind of all over the place. We just end up doing a lot of different things each day. It's never the same routine each day.
Depends what goes wrong, right?
Yeah, basically. So they never surprise me with what kind of strange issue comes up. We can do stuff from just fixing a printer one day to rewiring an entire room or moving a lab, or there's always some new emerging technologies that we have to look up and always be ahead of the curve there and just think about constantly.
Well, at least your days aren't monotonous, right?
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why I got into this.
So what skills did you take away from your time here at Jeff Tech that helped you in your career?
So what I started with was about the basic foundation about halfway through my junior year. I started in the computer networking engineering program and started out with like the basic computer repair and some of the original fundamentals of that. From there, we just kind of built on that and started working more towards the server side of things and networking. We did some training programs to learn towards getting our A+ and Net+ certifications. And a lot of it was just some hands-on work with servers and working with computers, ripping and tearing a little bit, and just a lot of stuff like that. I built it from there, and it gave me a little bit of a leg up over when I started college.
That's good. So you took part in the other computer shops here too, right?
Right. I started in 10th grade at the computer application technology. I started out with a lot of like 3D design and a little bit into the programming. I moved on to sound production, video production briefly. I just kind of experimented with a little bit here and there until I finally landed on something that I really liked. And that just kind of stuck by random chance, and that worked out.
That's great. So did you pursue additional schooling after leaving Jeff Tech, and if so, where?
Yes, I went to Penn State Du Bois. That's our local campus here, pretty close. Allowed me to study and further education and still remain local to the area. So I started with their IST program, which specialized in computer networking, and that extended the foundation that I had begun here. And they also did a lot of hands-on work. Beyond that, I took a 2-year break after I got a job from graduating there, and I continued schooling through Penn State World Campus, which is their online, and I took the IST program there, which taught a lot of the business and like project management side of that program.
So you got your associates at the campus, and then you got your bachelor's
Yes.
at the World. Okay.
Yep.
So is there any additional training, or are there additional certifications that you plan to pursue or that would have helped you in your field?
Different certifications, like the industry standard MCSE from Microsoft or Cisco Certified Network Administrator ones are what will allow me to possibly pick something up elsewhere if I ever move or something. Right now we run a VMware solution, so I was looking at some of the VMware certifications to expand on that. And that'll help us understand how to implement that in our district a lot better.
Yeah, so just like going to Jeff Tech, getting these certifications would give you a one-up on job opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
So were there any other careers in computer technology that you considered, or are there similar careers that the CNE students could pursue or that you could pursue with your degrees from Penn State?
Originally, the careers I considered were more the graphics design and a lot of it. Like originally I started playing video games, so naturally I wanted to learn to make those. In my spare time, I plan to pick up something like that as a hobby, but for the most part I plan to stick with what I know now and what I've already built so much of, and that still is enjoyable to me. There's quite a few other career options that I could do. My one friend was, he went to school here, and also he took up a handful of IT courses at Penn State Du Bois with me. He's now a biomedical equipment technician over at a hospital in North Carolina. He was working for a couple of years at a hospital in Pittsburgh and then moved down there recently. So.
And you said you had a couple friends that went right out of Jeff Tech in these programs and joined the workforce, right?
Yes. Yeah, I had a handful of friends that one went down to the Punxsutawney School District, and he's working there and has ever since. And I had another one that worked right at I think one of the metal plants nearby and just provided them tech support. And I think he even started as a co-op here while in shop here. So.
Okay, so that is an option for some of these kids.
Yep.
So what advice do you have for these students about their education and their future career paths?
Take in everything you can while you can. This is a free opportunity that we're fortunate to have in our area, and this will help you get a really great head start early. Take up internship opportunities and build from there. Meet a lot of people and build up a network of people that will vouch for you and become valuable resources for you to throw on there as references.
Right. Letters of recommendation from teachers. And we had talked about scholarship opportunities too. For
a lot of what helped me is having good words from so many other people that are also working in the industry that I've worked with after here, during here, through college, just from knowing other people and working at different districts and just from meeting people. So definitely get out there and network.
Right, and Mr. Walkup, you must have made a good impression on him because he's the one that suggested you come in with us today. So that's important for your teachers to like you. Do you guys have any questions?
When you first, you came here, you said you were in a different Jeff Tech program, but in the IT area. Mm-hmm. Did you know what you wanted to do right when you came here? Was your ultimate goal to be in the computers for the rest of your life, or was that just a hobby you wanted to pursue?
That's a good question. I definitely knew I wanted to be in technology, and I knew what I wanted to do, and like I said, that was making games, and that was interesting to me, but it didn't quite stick with me, so I came in here exactly knowing what I was going to do for the full 3 years. At the time, it was 10th, 11th, 12th, and then I just kind of ended up falling into what I ended up in, and after that I knew. So what this place was able to provide me was, it allowed me to, it was flexible enough that I could find what I knew I wanted to do, but definitely in technology because I just grew up with it and always had a pretty good knack for it.
So even if all of you aren't considering joining the workforce in a career in technology, that's something you could consider, and that's something that you might fall in love with and you might want to do for the rest of your life. So does anyone else have any other questions?
When you came here, what did you do in your shop? What did you work on and stuff?
I worked on a lot of personal projects to start. Me and my friend Robbie, who's at Punxsy, we ended up making a couple of videos here together, just at the film production. Most of them were, it's just some pretty corny stuff that we probably could have ended up making on YouTube or something. Looking back, I kind of wish we would have saved some of those and uploaded those. That might have worked out too. I brought my guitar in before and played music and did some recordings here. I helped other people with their projects. And then once we got into the computer network engineering one, we started building our own computers we like to play a lot of video games in our spare time and when we get it anymore. But then, it was exciting to be able to look at parts and build your own computer, and we brought ours in a couple times. So those were the original things I started working on.
And hopefully in the near future you guys will get that sort of experience. Anyone else?
Absolutely.
I got one. What was your biggest motivation?
I always wanted to be able to relax one day. So one of the biggest things, and I guess another piece of advice, is work hard now so that way you can relax later. That's always been a philosophy I try to stick by, and I just always wanted to be able to relax at home, play a game, fire up the grill, whatever, and because I went on and, got a nice job, I work my 7:30 to 3:30 usually, occasionally stick around and come home and do exactly that. So, in a way you could say the biggest motivator was just wanting to be lazy when I'm done at the end of the day.
Anyone else?
What is the hardest part of your job now?
Thinking. It's definitely mentally exhausting sometimes, just planning ahead, trying to guess what the next tech trends are going to be and invest in that before it's too late, because by the time you know it, you've sunk a lot of money into something and all of a sudden there's some new emerging technology out. It's always going to be an uphill battle, but that's also one of the most exciting things about it is you're just always thinking and it always keeps you on your toes.
So how do you and even the school district keep up with the emerging technologies?
They give me a decent budget to work with, and I try to read up on articles. What we have is each school district, at least in Pennsylvania, is part of an IU, and up in Ridgway we're part of the IU9. So tech directors from the other districts in those areas come meet there monthly, and we discuss a lot of with just simple questions like, how are you guys handling this? What antivirus software do you use? What are you doing for interactive whiteboards or their replacements? Stuff like that.
That's great.
So if we can't think of it, then someone else might have already. So
Yeah, it's important to make sure you're keeping up.
again, networking.
Justin, you have a question?
What do you think you would have done if you aren't in the field you are in now?
I would have loved to have done something with music. Even now, sometimes I still would have loved to do that. Being an artist is very tough, though, and this I knew was going to be really solid, so I do that more as a hobby, which I definitely enjoy. So if I could, probably music.
You said you brought your guitar in, right?
Yep.
So you can incorporate that always, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this helps me do that in the spare time now. I get a job and I can pick up some recording equipment and just kind of play around for fun, and maybe something will take off with that. I mean, there's always, yeah, there's always something. Life throws a curveball every now and then.
Anyone else have any questions?
You said that you came like the middle of your junior year. Did you just grasp things really fast that you learned in a year and a half what you needed to know, or was there things that you were behind on and then you picked up on?
I was definitely behind on a lot of stuff. I knew how to use a computer. I knew more of the software part of it. I really didn't know everything down into the meat and potatoes of it, so that kind of helped me just even grasp those concepts. There's some kids that I've worked with back at Brookville when I was there, and they were light years ahead of where I was at their age, and they were building their own computers, or at least knew how to rip and tear one apart. I didn't so much, so I really just kind of started from almost nothing aside from just being pretty good at using one. So it went from there.
While you do get a great education at Jeff Tech, it is important to further your education at secondary schools.
Did you always want to come to Jeff Tech, or was that just like, did your teachers encourage it from your home school, or did you just decide you wanted to come here?
My sister had gone here originally, and she also graduated from here. And yeah, once I knew about this program, I always knew I wanted to come here ever since probably 6th or 7th grade. I knew that's where I wanted to go because it was just going to provide me that opportunity. So I always tried to think ahead while still enjoying now, but that was definitely, as soon as I was aware of what I could learn here, yeah.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Hunter.
If you had the chance after, like as a hobby, would you go to be a YouTuber? I mean, you'd have to have 1 million subscribers to actually get paid for it, but would you do that if you had a chance?
Definitely. I would definitely at least consider it. I definitely like the stability of just having a good job in the area. So that would be a tough choice if I would ever not continue to do that also. But tech is an interesting thing to me, so I'd always love to do a channel and just talking about reviewing new tech. I'm just pretty much a big kid still, so it's all just adult toys at that point, like keyboards, mice, whatever.
And like your music, that's always something you can do on the side, right? Anyone else?
If you could go back to the time when you first came here, your sophomore year, would you take the knowledge you had there and invest it in where you were, or would you stay jumping around and getting the knowledge from all the different bases of it?
Yeah, I'd definitely jump in where I was going to be and just grow from there, because if I could have spent the first year and a half working on what I learned, I could have just even further been ahead of the curve a little bit, maybe even probably would have ended up with some certifications and just even step forward a little bit. So absolutely, yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add before we close?
No, not really. Just, like I said, learn what you can while it's available to you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Will you give him a warm round of applause?
Thank you.
I'm Megan Mulhollan, and this is Kyle Hauptner, and this has been Jeff Tech News.